You're listening to the Paul Carroll Program, brought to you by Conduit Media Group.
Hey, folks, welcome back to the program. It's hour number 2. Thank you so much for being with us. My name is Paul. You have found the intersection of conservative ideas and reality. We're building a liberty machine. We're glad that you're with us. Hey, what a welcome back to the program. We have State Representative Nelda Speaks is on the line. Nelda, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Paul, and it's a wonderful thing to get to be on your program.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. We've been doing these interviews with your colleagues, and we've been calling it the impression of the session. And so they basically, it's just you giving what you thought of the session, and it can start by you just taking as long or being as brief as you want. Overall, generally, what was your impression of the session?
Well, it's never as conservative as I'd like for it to be, Paul. But overall, I think that it was a pretty good session. Sometimes you feel like about all you get done is just holding off maybe tax increases and some of that, and then we did get to do that. Of course, there were things that did get slipped through and happened. You win some and you lose some. But I was thankful that the gas tax hike, it's $200 million per year, that we've got that stopped. The internet sales tax for the people, we were able to stop that one. I'm not sure whether that's going to be brought back up in this special session. You hear different things, but I have not been told positive, so I don't know. Some of the good legislation that we did get done is, the tort reform. I told the Baxter County Republican Committee last night, we've got the tort reform passed, but now we're going to have, it's up to all of us to get it passed in November or in 2018. I told them, I said, I'd done my part. It's up to y'all now. But it's going to take all hands on deck to get that thing done because there's going to be a lot of money pour into our state, I believe. One of the things I know that they have formed a tax task force and to look and identify more ways to make Arkansas's tax structure more competitive. And if we're ever going to get some of the bigger companies coming into Arkansas, we're going to have to do that. I hope they really go through that and get a good job done on that. But that's basically, where we were. The one thing that we passed this year that I thought was wonderful, when you see the students college students, they do not even know who their who their lieutenant governor is, or who the president of the United States, or maybe the our vice president. But they will have to take a test now, the naturalization test that the Immigrants Service uses to get their diploma. That they only have to pass 60 out of 100, but at least this is going to get something down in them, a little bit about our country and our government and how it works.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's I appreciate you giving us that that impression of the session. And I forgot to mention at the beginning of the interview, you're from District 100. Tell us where District 100 is.
This is in the upper part of Baxter County, all the way across. It pretty basically runs from Mountain Home up to the upper top portion, and then I come all the way across through Lakeview, and it takes in all of Mountain Home. I do not go into Cotter or Gassville. It just kind of skirts around that. But all of Mountain Home. So that takes in about the 30,000 that is mine. We have, I think there's 4 representatives that do come into Baxter County.
Yeah. I mean, and it's certainly we're happy. The Paul Herald program is happy to be broadcasting now on Mountain Talk 97. So hopefully, and this is a good medium for you to be able to talk to your constituents, and so we're really glad to have you. You mentioned in your remarks, never as conservative as I'd like to be because we're holding off tax increases. Talk a little bit about, if you don't mind, you guys had 76 out in the House, 76 Republicans, and yet to me, it's abundantly clear after this session. I don't see how anyone could argue with it. If you're having to hold off tax increases being brought by your fellow Republicans, and you wonder if they've read the Republican platform.
I do not believe they have any idea what that is in that platform. And what surprises me when you get down there, I mean, we've got the governor, all of the constitutional office holders, and 76 Republicans, but yet we're spending, but we're not ever cutting back, and we look at everything that was thrown at us this time of tax increases to the people, and that is the big thing. I thought that Republicans stood for was less government, less taxes. We were supposed to be conservative people, and that's what I think that they elect us to do. The majority of the people in Arkansas, I do believe the philosophy of the Republican Party, but yet we don't heed to it.
What do you think it would take? I mean, what do you think it's going to take to actually to heed to it? Because, see, at some point, that's what everybody's voting for. I don't think I talked about this last hour, that people are knocking doors and making phone calls for Republicans so that they can find a way to get more money out of us,
I don't know. The first session, I went down there. I was county treasurer for 16 years here in Baxter County, and I seen that even on the court did not operate the way I thought the conservative Republicans would operate. And when I got down there, and all of us, there was such a majority that was elected that time, that freshmen that came in, and every one of us ran against the private option, and got down there, and we got together, and I was crazy enough to think that we would overturn the thing, but it did not happen. And I couldn't believe the gas tax, asking the voters for that much. I would never have thought a Republican would have brought forth that. Also, the internet sales, those are Republicans that's bringing those up, and it's been a shock to me. But maybe they're not where they're from. If I'd done something like that, Baxter County is very, very conservative, and I think they would find someone to run against me, and should.
Yeah. Well, a lot of those tax increases were brought by State Representative Dan Douglas of Bentonville. So we'll see. Maybe he will draw a primary opponent. And we'll start to hear about that, I'm sure. Maybe this summer or this fall, people who start announcing for primaries and stuff like that. And you would think if you have such a blatant deviation from what you run on, lower taxes and less government. It's really interesting. How do you stay positive, Nelda? We're talking with State Representative Nelda Speaks. I mean, every time I saw you while you were down there, and I've said this before, you always have a smile on your face. You're very conservative in your voting record, and yet you're just always happy. How does that work out for you?
Well, I made up my mind. I've seen people come to Little Rock, and they leave there just so frustrated and mad, and that. And I count it a blessing to just even get to go down there and represent the people. And so I'm not going to be just beat down and that. I'm one vote, and if I'll go down there and I can come back to Baxter County and people say, you've done a wonderful job, and I know I'm not going to please everybody. I mean, that's a given. But I want the majority of the people, and when I've done that, I'm happy, and I'm not going to let it just eat my lunch. I'll do my very best and let the chips fall where they are. I mean, that's about all we can do. And so I'm an upbeat person. I believe in being positive, hoping things will work out better, and that we will become more conservative, and that's just my lifestyle.
Yeah, well, and at this point, I'm trying to coin the phrase, Nelda, platform Republicans, because, if you were to ask some of these Republicans that have been supporting these tax increases, if you were to ask them if they're conservative, they would say, oh, yeah, I'm real conservative. I mean, it just depends on how you define it. And so I feel like if we just start saying, hey, I'm a platform Republican, we can get the word out of what that means. That means I actually believe in what I run on.
I think that's a good idea. I really do. I think, and one of the things I think, Paul, that some Republicans that has been, we've seen a big shift in people coming over on to the Republican side, and that's great because I want us to be open and have people coming into our party. But sometimes I think that they may not be fiscal conservative people like we think Republicans should be, and what I think our platform is. But the issues on abortions and same-sex marriage and that kind of stuff, they fall in line with the Republican Party on those things. But maybe we can train them on this other.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, and that just, at some point, I feel like the leadership is a problem. We got to have people willing, to lead us to smaller government, and that means, the lobbyists aren't going to be happy, the bureaucracies aren't going to be happy, but hey, it's the people that matter, and it's the people that are voting for a government they want to live under, and we just got to make sure we get folks down there to reflect that. And Nelda Speaks, I know that you're one of those people, so I really appreciate you coming on, giving us your impression of the session, and I'm proud of how happy you are, or the attitude that you do have, because it certainly encouraged me while I was down there, and I know it encourages your colleagues, both on the left and the right, quite frankly.
Well, good. It's my desire to get along with all of them. We don't vote alike, but they have to represent their people, and I do too, back home. And so I want to leave there as their friend and colleague, that they will remember you well.
All right, State Representative Nelda Speaks. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, and anytime, looking forward to you being in Mountain Home.
Absolutely. I think I'm scheduled to be there on Pioneer Day. I think that's May the 20th.
I think so.
Yeah, so I'll be there setting up right next to the Mountain Talk 97 booth they'll have there, and really excited about that. So that'll be a lot of fun. So
great. That'll be a good place. Okay, thank you,
all right.
Paul.
Thank you. Folks, we got to go to break. The Liberty Machine rolls on next.